Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Kellner. I'm joining the Law of Attraction hypnotist, Victoria Gallagher, as her co host on the Power of the Mind podcast. Victoria, of course, is the number one best-selling author of Practical Law of Attraction, Align Yourself with the Manifesting Conditions, and Successfully Attract Your Desires. She's also the founder of Hip Talk and HypnoCloud apps, which give you access to over 500 hypnosis recordings right in the palm of your hand. So be sure to download the app from the App Store. Hello, Victoria.
Hello, Jim. How are you?
Fantastic. I've been home for a week now after traveling for a couple of weeks, and I'm starting to feel a little bit more rested.
Oh, that is good. Yeah, traveling really can take it out of you, whether it's good travel or well, it's all good travel, business
Yeah.
travel or personal travel. It definitely can take it out of you. So, well, welcome back home.
Thank you. What have you been up to?
Oh, I have been walking all around my neighborhood, up and down the mountain, and just doing a lot of personal reflection, and doing a lot of journaling, and doing a lot of meditation, and doing a lot of reading. I love all that stuff. Just really, I've got this meditation room. You know what? I meant to send you a picture of
Oh, that's right. You
my,
were going to do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just reminded me. I was going to send you a picture of my meditation chair in my meditation room, and it's I actually think I'm getting ready to put some more pictures on the wall in there because it kind of needs it. But this is, when we first manifested this house, and that was one of the things that I had. It was like almost like a bonus room. Like we got like one more room than was on the list of rooms that we
Oh,
actually needed. And so, of course, I claimed it and I said, this is going to be my meditation room. But it's like, I feel like I have to earn it and I have to work for it,
hmm.
meaning that like I can't just have this whole room dedicated to meditation unless I actually get in there and use it. So,
Hmm.
I've been really breaking it in a little bit more and using it for more than just 20 minutes a day.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, getting in there to, really do my reading and my writing, and just just really enjoying the space, and actually I have like my lounge, my little lounge, and that's where I do my hypnosis, and I'm a meditation chair where I do my meditation. So yeah, I've been spending a lot more time in there and just enjoying that.
Nice. I think it helps a lot to have some kind of a separate space to do, like you talk about the writing and things like that, and be able to have a
Mhm.
separate space. Definitely.
Yeah, and even if you don't have like a whole room in your house that you can dedicate to it, I mean, even just a corner of your
Yeah.
bedroom or your office or your living room or even the kitchen.
Hmm. Yeah.
Just something where like there's like some form of an altar there, maybe some candles or some incense, or something that you do that's like this ritual where you go there every day. And to me, it just raises like the energy vibration of that space. And when you go in there, you just are much more able to connect with that energy. And it just almost like instantly anchors you into what you need to be thinking about.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
So Victoria, you've got me fired up on all this law of attraction stuff. And as I'm out there looking around at stuff, I'm finding out, and we've even talked about some of these, but there's like a bunch of these different universal laws, like, that law of vibration that we talked about a couple episodes ago. And apparently there's like 12 of these universal laws, law of attraction only being one of them. And it seems, frankly, you and seems like everybody else is really only talking about law of attraction. So what's going on with that? I mean, can you tell us about more about like the law of vibration or some of these other laws or anything like that you want to fill us in on?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a while back, actually, I did a YouTube episode. We don't really talk about my YouTube channel very much here, but for
Hmm.
those of you who have been listening to the Power of Your Mind podcast, we put all of these podcasts on YouTube. And then in addition to that, I actually do talk about some other things on my YouTube channel, one of which was the 12 universal laws. And so there's a whole I had like 20-minute program on there where I really address all 12 of those laws. And it really makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I tend to gravitate toward the law of attraction because, that's where most, that's what most people think about when they think about the laws of the universe. So many people just talk about the law of attraction. There's so much there, there's so much to the law of attraction. But yeah, I study a lot of the other laws as well. And, quite frankly, you have to eventually study all of the laws, because it's kind of like, if you think about it, I mean, there's a lot of laws that you have to pay attention to just as a citizen of a country, the United States. You can't just follow the stop sign. You have to, you can't just follow the traffic laws. You can't just follow the don't kill anybody law. You gotta kind of like, you gotta follow all the laws, and each one of them sort of interrelates and interconnects, and they all tend to work together. And one law, maybe one of the reasons why the law of attraction doesn't work for a lot of people who work with that is because they have been only practicing with that one law. And if you start to educate yourself and start to learn about some of these other laws, you're going to realize that it's really a big puzzle piece, a big puzzle that all of these pieces really kind of fit together. And but yeah, let's I would love to kind of share a little bit more about law of vibration. The late Bob Proctor, a lot of people remember him from The Secret. He was a huge teacher of this law of vibration, and I loved listening to his lectures talking about the law of vibration. It makes so much sense. So that's just another way that you can learn. This is going to be very introductory in today's podcast, but if you really want to learn a lot more about the law of vibration, I highly recommend getting yourself acquainted with the body of work that Bob Proctor had done over the 50 years or so that he was teaching about all these concepts.
That's really cool. I mean, I've heard of Bob Proctor. I didn't know that he was teaching the law of vibration. That's interesting, because I kind of just thought that everybody was just teaching law of attraction. So that's interesting. Can you jump into the law of vibration? We can get more into that.
Yeah. So, when it comes to the law of vibration, ultimately what the law of vibration means is that every single thing in this entire universe is vibrating. And when I say vibrating, it's like, if you look at every single thing under a magnifying glass, ultimately, everything is in constant motion. It doesn't look like it visibly, like it doesn't look like this phone has any kind of movement to it. If you're just looking at it, it's not moving. This cup, this cup isn't actually moving. None of the stuff looks like it's moving, but really every single thing in this entire universe has a frequency, it has movement, and if and the speed at which it's moving is really related to the frequency. The speed at which it's vibrating is the frequency. And now this frequency isn't something that you can actually see with your own eyes, but it's like your energy. It's like, that you have energy, that you have feelings, that you have imagination, you have thoughts, but who can actually see those things physically? It's more like an invisible thing. You can't just reach out and grab that thing, but you know that it's there, and you know that it's there because you can feel it.
And as I'm thinking, like, you're not. I mean, this isn't just some idea that people have come up. This is science. This is like the atomic theory. The atoms and the neutrons and the everything is all vibrating around. So everything you're saying, so basically everything that we're looking at is all vibrating, and it's at some kind of a frequency. And I don't really get that too much, but I've heard that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's an interesting concept to grasp. I've been reading Advanced Manifestation, rereading it for the second time by Linda West. And I love to read all these books. So besides, like, last week I was reading about the It Works. We talked about that. This week I'm actually reading a little bit more about this frequency thing, because as a lot of people know, my book Practical Law of Attraction is the practical side of everything. So that's the way I teach it. But again, I'm always in the process of growing and expanding my own knowledge of the way that this all works. And it's undeniable that enough people have been talking about this law of vibration, and that it's really caught my attention a lot more lately, that this is something that I really need to get a much deeper understanding of. And so every single thing, to my understanding, has a frequency. It has a vibration. It's all energy, and we ultimately, this whole universe is made up of this energy, and just every single thing is vibrating at just a different rate of frequency. And but you can feel that energy, the same way that, like, you've met people, what you come across a lot of people in your work. You see people, and haven't you ever just noticed that when you can meet somebody and you can just pick up on their energy?
Hmm. Yeah, I'm reminded of a time when I was a massage therapist, and we're talking 20 years ago, and I can still
Uh-huh.
remember there was this guy came in as a client, and he nice guy. I mean, very pleasant. There was nothing odd about him necessarily, but man, it was hard to stay in the room with him for the 50 minutes. I just couldn't wait to be done.
Yeah, yeah. And there's those people that you meet, that you meet them for the first time, and you just feel like, whether they're a man or a woman or your soulmate or just going to be a personal friend or a business acquaintance or whatever, but you just gravitate toward them. It's like you want to be
Right.
around them. There's just something about them, this some quality. It's not even necessarily anything that they say or anything that they do. There's just like, you just feel good when you're in their space. And then,
Yeah.
like you said, there's those other people that you meet, and it's not even necessarily anything that it's not the way they're looking at you. It's not anything that they do with their body. It's not anything that they say. It's just like, ugh, something about them. It's like that it just
Right.
feels like, bad. And and sometimes, like, you can misread it. And sometimes, I think sometimes our own energy can influence that energy. Like, maybe that person's in a really high vibration and you're in a really low
Oh,
vibration.
how dare you?
And right.
Yeah.
And so, it's like
Interesting.
you're just not on the same you're not on the same wavelength,
Hmm.
right? And and you can't just you just can't, for whatever for whatever reason, you just cannot stand to be around them. Lower vibe people don't really want to be around higher vibe people. It's like, oh, that person's like too positive. All
Right.
they want to
Yeah.
talk about is positivity, and that just doesn't feel good to them. It just doesn't feel natural to them. Their vibe is like, they want to complain all the time. They want to just talk about what's not working, and they want to always get back to that. And so it could go both ways, is essentially what I'm saying. It's like that some people you're only really going to mesh with people that are really close to your wavelength, your energy vibration.
So, I mean, if we're thinking about, so we're talking, I mean, basically, as far as I understand, and I think as far as you're talking about, is like every single thing in the universe has this vibration, this frequency. So that must be things as well. So we can be kind of repelled by things or drawn to things, and maybe them to us. I'm thinking of a Ferrari now, maybe being attracted to me.
Right, right. And so here's where it's a little tricky because I was thinking about this the other day. Like I was thinking like, well, does an actual house itself or does an actual car itself, is it that is carrying a vibration? Like when they talk about manifesting things that are on the same level of vibration that you're on, does that mean that this house, like what, why would I attract this house or why would I attract this car? And I think everything has an energy. I do
Mm,
agree with that. But I actually, the way that I perceive that is it's really the experience that carries the vibration. It's really the energy that you're giving to that experience. So let's just say, let's just put it on numbers. Let's say that you're vibrating at about a 50, but your dreams, you perceive those dreams, those desires, those goals at around a 70. Not that you've
mm,
necessarily labeled it as a 70, but it's a 70 compared to where you actually are. So you have to grow yourself, your own vibration. You have to grow your vibration up to the level of whatever it is that would make it a 70. Like, so you have to grow yourself to a 70 in vibration in order to attract the things that you perceive that are vibrating at a 70. Does that kind of make sense?
it does, but it sounds like what you're saying is that like that, that mansion overlooking the ocean that's the vibration it's at is my perception of what it's at.
Yeah.
When I wonder, like if I just assumed I'm at the same level as it is,
Mhm. Mhm.
would it make a difference? I don't know. I'm just curious.
Well, then, I love that you said assume because then that gets you into the law of assumption. Because
Ah,
here's how I sort of labeled that like that. Think of if you're like a thousandaire, okay, you're
yeah.
a thousandaire and the house that you're looking at is $1 million home. That house is going to be at a higher vibration for you.
Mm,
But if you're a billionaire and you're looking at a
mm,
$1 million house, that house is
wow.
going to be at a lower
Right.
vibration
You don't want to
to the
manifest it.
billionaire. So I don't,
That's such a
so
good point.
yeah, so for me, I don't really see, and
Yeah.
I don't see anybody actually talking about this. This is just sort of my own way of thinking about it is that, the things that are at that higher vibration, they're at a higher vibration in your own universe.
Yeah. Wow.
You're the one that's assigning the vibration. Like, yes, everything has the energy vibration, especially people, because almost everything that comes to us, it comes to us through actual people. Like you can't buy a car without a person. You can't run a business without a person. You can't meet your soulmate without a person. You can't have food without somebody out there growing that food and or raising that food and turning it into food and all the energy and everything that transpires to turn it into that energy that you're going to consume. So so everything is at, to me, like people are at a people have their own level of vibration, but all the things that you want to manifest, they're at a vibration that is either lower or higher from where you are, or the same, the things that are in your awareness right now, that are in your being, that are in your place, they're at your vibration. These are here because they're at your perceived vibration. So yeah, I see it personally like a perception.
Yeah, that is so interesting. You really kind of blew my mind with that idea. Like, I'm thinking like the multi-million dollar house on the ocean that I think is like a higher frequency than me. Somebody like Bill Gates is kind of looking down on it, would be disappointed with it. Wow, this is just it's just only an $8 million home. Where's the
Yeah.
so
Exactly.
so interesting to think of it that way. Um, and so I'm still, I guess it's a little tough. So if we're gonna shift our frequency to match it, are we just gonna work at the assumption that we're at that same level, or are we meditating, we writing? What are we doing? What are we doing to get there?
Yeah. So, like, a lot of our episodes, we've talked about various different techniques. Like last week, we talked about the writing techniques, the scripting techniques.
Right.
We've talked about in episode 202, we talked about different ways that we could raise our vibration. And, so this is what all the manifesting techniques are ultimately designed to do. Well, they're designed to do a number of things. They are designed to, number one, raise your energy vibration, but they're also designed to help you to believe. I think believing, aside from vibration, is one of the most key things that you can do. Once you can get yourself to
Hmm.
conceive and believe, I mean, like in the Think and Grow Rich, he says, if you, not Thomas Edison, Napoleon Hill says,
Yeah.
if you can conceive it and believe it, you can achieve it. Right. So, so much of it is about, conceiving. And I do believe that as you believe things, you are also lifting your vibration, because it's all connected. Our vibration, our thoughts, our imagination, our beliefs, it's all connected, and it's all part of manifesting. And, so, but we do have to, we can't just believe. If we could believe something's possible, but then we don't even like really care about it, as we don't have any kind of feeling about it. And if we don't
Hmm.
have any kind of feeling of passion about that, then our vibe is not going to be high enough to allow that to come into being for us. So we got to raise our vibration. And I believe that raising our vibration, it requires a lot of discipline. It just, this is really where a lot of people just fail at the law of attraction, because they're just not aware of how much you really do need to like work at raising your vibration, and how many negative thoughts that we have, and how easy it is for us to just fall into the trap of thinking negative, and thinking negative leads to feeling negative.
Yeah, and it's like it's kind of relearning old habits.
It
I mean,
really, yeah.
many of us didn't grow up in necessarily the highest vibe environment, for whatever reason. Sometimes sometimes maybe nothing necessarily bad, but maybe just that negative thinking, or maybe not even just negative, but just not understanding the full potential of life. And so we're kind of so it sounds like me like we're kind of, to me, I think of habits as like we're on a train, and to get off that train you got to jump the rails, right? Or you've got to have some other track, and it's very easy to get right back on that train,
Yeah.
unfortunately, because the
Yeah.
ruts are already there,
We
you know
and we have to kind of like wake up, we
yeah.
have to, and I think that we're all kind of given little signs, little moments that can really change your life forever, where you can just wake up. Like I think we're all kind of somehow or another, like before you're aware of this stuff, there's nothing you can do. Like if
Right.
you're not aware of the fact that our thoughts and our feelings and our vibration, our beliefs, and all of that are creating our reality. And you just grew up in a house thinking that, where people told you that you're never going to amount to much, you're not very smart, you're stupid, whatever. And, parents that they had unaware parents that just, put all these bad ideas into your head. Well, how can you possibly know anything other than that? You can't.
Right.
You can't. But I think there are moments where you just become aware, and maybe and you can choose to embrace that awareness. I mean, awareness isn't forever. It's just a temporary fleeting thing that you can have, and you have to continue to open that awareness and expand it. And so some people grasp that opportunity, and others don't. They want to stay asleep. It's too comfortable. They have to take risks. You have to want for something to be different in your life requires you to, like, you have to kind of take a little risk. You might get hurt, you might not win, you might fail, and all of that stuff. Ooh, some people just don't really want to deal with that.
Yeah, and risk the disappointment. Boy, I've been trying for 10 years to manifest my mansion on the hill. It still hasn't come, so I'm disappointed. So, I mean, we know this is going to take, it's going to take some time and some effort. What kind of work is involved? What do you recommend that we do to get to that higher vibe or that different vibe? Because I don't even know, is higher vibe the right thing? Maybe, I don't know. Different vibe anyway.
A different vibe, higher vibe. I mean, the vibe where your stuff is usually a higher.
Or I'd already have it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
to me, the work is all about, number one, it's all about like staying present. And when I say staying present, when you are present, to me, like, I think you can live a little bit more in the vibration of appreciation. Like, when you're present, you're not thinking about what you don't have. You're not thinking about what you want that you don't have yet. You're not thinking about loss. You're not thinking about suffering. You're thinking about, like, right here, right now. Like, I am here in this moment with you, doing this podcast, and I can feel grateful for that because I'm right here in this moment. I'm doing something that um it's helping change the vibration of the planet. I'm doing something that's helping other people, and I'm just very present to that. I'm very aware of that, rather than just sitting here and like kind of taking it for granted and trying to get through the moment, and thinking, like, because sometimes it's easy to like get caught up in the inertia of our life that we decided this is what I wanted. Like, there's actually days where I'm like, oh my God, I gotta do that client, or I got so many meetings today. I've got to get so much done. Well, what is it that I really have to get done? Okay, well, I've got to write some content for my, for my next number one best-selling book. I've got to write some content for my podcast. I've got to write some content for my seminar, because I get to be a public speaker. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and but there's those days where you're kind of like just going through the motions, and you're not appreciating, what, this is something I prayed for 10 years
Yeah.
ago.
No, I was just going to say, I can totally relate because, like when I'm on the road for almost 2 weeks, like we talked about, last week, and it is challenging, but I have to remind myself, this is exactly where you wanted to be.
Yes. Yeah. And so you have to like be present to that and stay aware, and notice how you're feeling, and how you're feeling at any one moment is how you are vibrating. And so when you're feeling good, that's when you really want to take advantage of that state of feeling good, and step into that feeling of gratitude. And then when you're in that feeling of gratitude, that's when you want to do the writing. That's when you want to do your hypnosis. That's when you want to do your affirmations. That's when you want to do your visualization, because that's going to give you that's going to amplify the power, and that's going to help you to raise your vibration even more and step it up to the next level. Because a lot of people are doing this work from trying to raise their vibration from when they're in a low stuck place. Well, that's just you just only getting yourself to neutral all the time. But if you like recognize when when you're at your highest vibration for you, then in order to raise your vibration, that's when you want to like really be present and really allow yourself to feel that gratitude and really like, okay, this is where I can step up to the next level. Like you keep going up and down the ladder of your vibration throughout the day. And it's like if you're trying to manifest from the bottom of the ladder, then you're ultimately just only getting yourself up to your own full potential in that, your own full vibration in that moment. But if you're standing at the top of the ladder, ultimately, well, then that's where you're going to be able to see like, oh, there's other things up here that I don't ever really appreciate. And what's next? What else is available for me? And that's how you're going to ultimately raise your vibration to the next level. So it's being aware of when you're there, and then it's also being aware when you're not there. When you're feeling bad, that's giving you an opportunity like, oh, why do I feel bad? Why am I depressed? Why am I anxious? What's going on? If you're aware, then you can notice, okay, well, I'm feeling bad because I've been thinking these thoughts. And so that gives you an opportunity now to switch your thinking and switch to thoughts that are going to make you feel better.
So I mean, it sounds like we got to be we're like a policeman, like a police person, like monitoring every thought. I mean, that sounds impossible. How do we do
Well,
it?
yeah, and again, that's why the feelings and the vibration is crucial, because it's not possible to track down every single one of those little buggers. It's like um
Come back
it's
here.
it's like the same. I'll use an analogy of like sweeping. Like, let's say you live in the desert like we do,
Mm,
and
yeah.
there's
Right.
constant dust. And you're not even like, you can't even see the dust all the time, but you can sweep your floor, and you can at least make it look nice, right? You can,
Yeah.
there's still constant dust. Well, that's kind of akin to your thoughts. You're always going to have these thoughts that are sort of like happening below the surface. They haven't quite bubbled up. You can't necessarily see them, but you got to just at least sweep up what you can see. What you can see is there. And the way that you normally can see what's there is just by paying attention to what you're feeling. When you feel a certain way, stop and take a look. Okay, I got to sweep up those little thoughts. And those because those negative habits and those thoughts that keep repeating over and over again, we can ultimately get, notice those thoughts, and put our attention on those thoughts that have been hurting our vibration. And I like to do some what's called a pattern interrupt technique called, what am I manifesting right now? Because our thoughts are always manifesting. And so whenever you're just catching yourself like moaning and groaning and complaining, oh God, another it's another bad day, or this didn't happen, or whatever it is, and this is never going to happen. I've tried everything and this is just never going to happen. I'm never going to
Mm.
manifest this. This is, this, whatever it is, whatever you've been working on. Like, you and I have talked about the weight situation. It's like, oh, don't you just have those moments where it's kind of like, oh, I don't have any energy, or you know, I keep doing the same thing over and over, and I'm not getting the results that I want. Whatever it is, you got to stop yourself and ask, what am I manifesting right now? Because when you know that your thoughts, your automatic thoughts, you think all the time, those are patterns, and those patterns are what's creating your reality. But if you stop yourself every time you hear that thought, what am I manifesting right now? Then you can switch, and you can switch it to a new thought.
and I just, I love that, because you can be thinking, am I manifesting another, Netflix marathon, or am I manifesting, writing a new book, or something like that. Um, something that I thought of too, and I was reminded of when you're talking about the dust and the thoughts and getting, some of them are going to get by because you don't even notice them. And I was thinking of when I was in college, I had a roommate, and a couple times a week she'd say, I really wish you'd clean the oven off or the stove off when you're done using it. And
Mm.
she's getting angry about this. And I go look at it and it looks fine. I'm like, it
Hmm.
looks fine. Finally, I said, can you show me what you mean? Because it looks fine to me.
Yeah.
But when you take a closer look, there was all these little streaks and little, I mean, like I couldn't even see from where I was in my reality. It was clean. It was perfect. But when I really dove in deep and had somebody point it out to me, I said, "Oh," and I, thinking like that's how a coach, I guess, comes into play sometimes.
Absolutely. It's blind spots.
Yeah.
And we have blind spots, like, just it was a perfect analogy. We have these blind spots. I hear it all the time. I mean, this I think is probably my superpower somehow or another. I'm just so meticulous with my own the way that I speak to myself that because I know that if it's kind of like cockroaches.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, if you
It's
see
Arizona.
one cockroach, if you
Mm,
see one cockroach, you know that there's probably an army of 100 or a
right.
thousand of them right behind. So it's the
Yeah.
same thing with our thoughts,
Mhm.
that if we're feeling a certain way, okay, if that has been that didn't just come about from like one thought. That came about from a a way of thinking, a way of being that has been ingrained in us. So where we have one feeling like that or one thought that bubbles up to the surface, there's an army of those thoughts behind that. And so you're only going to just, be able to catch that one thought. But if you're not catching that one thought, like you're not seeing the streaks on the oven that other person was saying, yeah, having somebody else that's able to like shine a flashlight on and listen to your conversation. I mean, that's one of the things also that happens during the law of attraction intensive is I am able to like pick up on people's thoughts because it's a very experiential participatory class, and we break into small groups, we break into partners, and I ask everybody to hold your partner accountable and listen and do that person a favor. Like, don't stand up for that person if you don't actually honestly believe that what they're saying they believe it. And and so um you know so it is about, like, we need other people sometimes to point these things out for us, whether it be a coach, whether it be an accountability buddy.
Just made a new word.
Whether it be the facilitator at a seminar. I mean, this is a great opportunity for you to like really, really, get in touch with things that you cannot see. Cause like other people can see us. I think other people can see us a lot of times better than we can see ourselves.
Mm, for sure. For sure. I wanted to just mention too, we talked about it being work and what's the work we have to do. And I think work is kind of a turnoff word for people.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it really does. But the other thing too is like, and I think about this with weight, tell this with like weight loss clients, like you don't have to wait. Like as far as like we're talking about manifesting, I don't have to wait until I get that mansion overlooking the ocean to start feeling better, to start having a better life, because those things that are the work, I mean, just things that raise your vibe, that, exercise and meditation, hypnosis, all those things, you feel better, like almost, I mean, probably immediately. For me, a lot of those things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sure, for you too.
Kind of like when I was working on manifesting this house and I was in my other house and excuse me, there were all these things that I was kind of complaining about the other house. And it was just sort of like it was a little outside of my awareness that I was doing that constantly at the time. Like, and everybody's probably heard, maybe some people have heard about my tiny little drawers that I had
Right.
to and I was
Those
just
tiny doors.
constantly thinking about these tiny little drawers. It doesn't fit my hair dryer, my straightening iron, and my brush, and all my hair clips and everything. It's like I can't fit it all in there. And I had to leave everything in. And I had like this one way of thinking about it. And one day I just kind of realized that, like, yeah, I'm complaining a lot. And so by complaining about this one thing, I mean, it's like I should be grateful. I should be grateful because, at that time, like, one of the cool things is, like, every single house that I've ever lived in, or every, I went from apartment to condo to townhouse to renting a house to now in this house, like every single thing I've kind of stepped up a little bit. So
Yeah.
every situation has been just a little bit better. And, so the day that we first moved in to that house, it was great. It was so much bigger than our last place. And it had a pool and it had a backyard and it was our house and it had many bedrooms and all of that. So I should have been like just focusing. I realized at that time, it's like, well, by focusing on what I appreciate and like taking great care of this place, as then I'm ultimately calling in, I'm creating a new vibration, new frequency that's going to allow me to like call in an opportunity to get into, this place. And so but the other thing too, besides just paying attention to what we've been thinking, I believe our bodies play a huge role, because if you really think about our bodies are connected to our mind and our emotions. Like, it's all connected. And so if you're struggling to change your mindset, just changing your mindset, or just if you're struggling to change how you're feeling in any one moment, move your body. You can change the energy of how you're feeling by just moving your body. I think it's actually impossible to like raise your heart rate and at the same time feel depressed.
Hmm.
Like, you know, eh, like
Yeah, I
how
think
can
so.
you go for a run, even if you don't run, do some jumping jacks, get down on the floor and do one push up, go up and down the stairs, just do something to elevate your heart rate. Because when you elevate your heart rate, I mean, it's just like logical, like blood is going to be flowing and moving the energy through your body. Depression or the anxiety or any of that stuck feeling, it's, that's a low vibration. Feeling depressed is a low vibration. And I truly believe that even somebody that is feeling sad or feeling, depressed, they can just, get up and dance, turn on some dance music, and let the, just let the music take you over. And, the thing is that biologically it releases a lot of powerful chemicals, the endorphins, and those feelings, those endorphins, those chemicals make you feel good. And then if you're doing this on a continual basis throughout the day, each day, you really cannot help but to change your vibration. And I love how Tony Robbins, he, talks
Mm,
about how
yeah.
our physiology can change our psychology.
Right.
And I really believe that part of the reason is because it's also changing our vibration.
Great points. Great points. Well, you answered a lot of great questions. Really appreciate you taking the time to explain all that.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's my pleasure. I love learning about this stuff, and I love just sharing as I'm growing. And I think we all, no matter how long you've been practicing, no matter how long you've been teaching, I learn from other people learn from me. we're all a work in progress. And, as we change and we grow and we change our own vibration, it's our duty, I think, to share that information with others. So I really feel like it's a duty and I'm just really grateful for you to be here as well, to co-host and help spread the word. And I'm grateful to the audience for being here to listen and take this in. Maybe you'll share this information with somebody that you know, and download our HypnoCloud app. And there's a bunch of vibration raising programs within the app. Come take the Law of Attraction seminar. And that's going to, by all means, raise your vibration. And as you raise your vibration, you're helping the whole planet raise their vibration.
Nice.
Its vibration.
Hey, is there a website people can go to for that Law of Attraction Intensive?
Oh, yes, absolutely. You can go to lawofattractionintensive.com and
Awesome.
you'll be able to sign up there.
I want to show everybody my vision board where I've started with.
Oh,
yay.
Yay. The palm trees.
Got two things. That's all I know for sure right now is I want palm trees in my life.
Yes.
Lots of them.
Yes.
Hey, so,
I love it.
If you've got a vision board, why don't you, I don't know, post it down below, drop a picture, send Victoria a picture of it or something. We'll talk about it on the air.
Oh yeah. I would love to.
Maybe I just threw that at you. I hope. Yeah.
Maybe we need to do an episode on vision boards.
Just threw that out there I caught her totally off base, everybody. Off base.
No, I love it. I love your vision board. I'd love to see more stuff on it. And
yeah, I'll definitely add more stuff.
Yeah. And yeah, I'd love, send me a picture of anybody who's listening, send me your vision board. I'd love to see it.
Me too. I'd love to see it too.
So cool.
Thanks, Victoria.
Well, thank you, Jim. And thank you, everybody listening. And thank you for tuning in to the Power of Your Mind podcast. Have a wonderful week, and we will talk to you next week.